Okay, welcome back to another episode of The 12, our epic campaign of discovery and adventure across the continent of Corvair. This story streams live Sundays at 6 p.m. here on Javelin Entertainment, and if you missed the last session, you can check it out on the channel page or by clicking the link down in the description.
Yeah, he's roboting hard for me.
Yeah, I lost.
Oh, am I?
Like a paragraph ago.
Ooh.
I was worried it was my internet, so I started frantically turning things off.
I think
that's why I'm looking at eyes. Like, is anyone else freaking out?
Is this working better?
Yes,
a little bit.
Discord is weird. It's anytime Discord is not the top window on my thing, it just doesn't like it anymore. Okay, well, we'll try. It should have been fine on stream. Well, keep going.
Oh, this is a throwback song.
That's not supposed to be playing. What is that?
I much prefer that.
Yeah, that was the nice downtime that y'all just skipped through. Okay, anyway.
Last time, as the party once more attempted to complete their retreat as they were chased by these strange husk-like assassins, despite the multiple barrages of magical spells and attacks, the husks seemed unslowed and made attacks of their own. Bungo was lucky enough and had a few stone walls to throw back at them and keep the weakened party safe. One husk was able to land onto the cart, but a blast from Clyde broke open its skull, and quick thinking from Boko and Theschault were able to sever the arms, and the body dropped into the road moments before it exploded. The cart finally was able to make its way down the road and away from the pursuers. Shortly thereafter, Roland was able to break away from the guards and began to head back towards the city. However, two creatures came tumbling out of the woods, locked in a fight. Roland tried to understand what was going on, and when he couldn't make heads or tails of the details, he instead went to hide in the brush. The character on top, a female in guard's apparel from the estate, began calling out commands to assist her. Roland finally rushed forward and stabbed the creature she was fighting, finding it to be one of the husk assassins. The woman seemed to know how to defeat them and even placed a small mechanical device on the back of the husk's neck as they defeated the creature. The device disrupted the soul energy as it raced towards the body, slowing it and removing the dangerous volatility. Roland was given the device and little information as the woman disappeared into the trees. He quickly grabbed a dagger and a helmet before the body itself was violently disposed of, and he revealed that these assassins are Pallid Elves like Jasira, before he finally made his way back towards the city. Rea and Renny, guided by the others to Casual Joe's, where they were able to rest and recover a bit. Jasira had a visceral dream about Galreth, the assassins, Boko, and the Gilded Man. In the morning, Roland finally arrived, and they relayed information of what had happened. Roland spoke about the underground lab, Jasira and Boko examined the soul device, and all of the items from the estate were dumped onto the table. Boko expressed his interest to go and investigate the Mournland, but was distracted when Theschault recognized the strange natural weapons as Daelkyr weaponry. Boko then used one of these blades, dipped in the strange demon oil, to cut himself. Where did these strange weapons come from? What do they do? And what the hells was Boko thinking? Let's tune in and find out.
So when we had last left off, you all had been gathered in the back of Casual Joe's. I'd been examining the various spoils and talking about the things that would come next when Boko had taken this strange, curved, natural, almost organic looking blade and dipped it into this vial of blue-green fluid that had been identified as some sort of demonic oil. Not thinking that was far enough, Boko then took the blade and decided to test it out with a small incision on his arm. A few things happen in very quick succession. The first is the cut itself, as the blade begins to break skin, dealing 1 point of slashing damage that I believe you took last time. Then, the edge of the blade that was coated with the oil itself seems to seep in to the body of Boko, and Boko's, through some strong constitution, is able to resist some kind of abyssal hex that is latent within this liquid fluid. The third thing that happens is a physical effect that Boko had seen somewhat similar type things happen when he was fighting the husks above at the estate. And for this particular blade, it carries with it a secondary effect. And shortly after the incision is made, Boko, you feel almost this shriek of pain cascade through your body. Luckily, you only take 2 psychic damage. And the fourth thing that happens is, Boko, you suddenly realize that this particular blade, these types of weapons, now through continued exposure between the estate and a secondary exposure that you have just given yourself, have connected to something that has laid latent and dormant for as long as you can remember. You're not sure? Actually, why don't you go ahead and roll me a medicine check in this moment?
Okay.
Probably
average.
You've been worried. Kind of this nagging thought in the back of your mind for a long time, and now has been kind of pushed to the front again after seeing the quarantine zone, that you have some relation to a disease. Whatever that disease was has long since been dormant and hasn't seemed to take in any ill effects. However, within the city, it seemed to be dangerous enough that they set up a full quarantine with no access. Whatever is in your body has now been awakened and is contagious. What are you doing?
Besides dying. And
choose carefully, these might be your last words.
Yeah. With as soon as that feeling sort of washes over and the ideas sort of connect and this understanding washes over Boko, his breath catches in his mouth and he stands up, launching the chair backwards, turns on his heels and runs out of the room towards the front of the tavern.
Do you guys know what just happened?
Maximum.
I don't think it was good, but it seems like it was a Boko thing. Clyde's gonna be like trying to keep up, but I'm pretty sure Boko's faster than Clyde.
He ain't faster than Roland.
Or Jasira.
Okay, so Boko's gonna run out, Clyde's gonna start, and then Roland and Jasira. Doom.
It's gonna be like, you know the scene in Return of the King when Aragorn charges and then Merry and Pippin charge and then the entire army.
We're the army. What's up?
Boko, I'd like you to just go ahead and roll me a dexterity check here.
Dexterity check. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
His blood sprays everywhere, contaminating the whole bar as he goes.
He falls in the local well.
As this dawns on you and you begin to just try and get away, you sprint for the opening, kind of pulling the curtain away and turning away from your companions into a bar that is now starting to slowly fill. It's not full, but it's around midday at this point, and some people have settled in for a meal. And you try and dodge and duck around them, making your way for the entrance before you kind of get caught up in a chair and tumble down onto the ground. Clyde, even for you, it's not very difficult to kind of make your way over towards him quickly, but there is a bit of fear that you see, and he's scrabbling away from people. Boko, what else, as you kind of fallen down into the middle of this floor, people are starting to look at you. Your companions are starting to make notice and move in your direction. What other actions are you taking, or are you just getting up and continuing to run?
Boko is trying to pull a piece of cloth out of the bag to throw over his mouth.
Boko, what's up? What can we do? Kind of freaking me out here a little bit, and more so than you usually do.
Yeah, Boko is going to try to stay out of arm's reach. He's going to hold a hand up that just says, stop.
I hope the hand doesn't actually have a mouth that says stop.
I didn't know Data was here. What's up?
And then Boko is going to try to open his mouth as little as possible, just in case this thing is airborne. And into the cloth, he'll just say, I am headed for the hospice. I must get there now.
All right. Well, we'll follow here behind you. We're not going to let you go alone. And DM, I want to use my encouraging words ability. Just because he failed that dexterity. He might need it on his next one.
Aww.
It's an ability I never remember to use.
Okay. And what's the bonus? Is it 3, 4, 5?
4.
4? Okay.
Yes. You going? Let's go then.
Yeah, in this time, Boko will have tried to stand up and put a little bit of distance between him and the others. Just sort of backing away from them. And then once he gets a couple feet away, he'll just say, Roland, find Theschault. Meet me at the hospice.
All right. I mean, Theschault's right in the room back there, like probably poking his head around the curtain going, what the hell's going on?
Oh, for sure.
I'll just nod and then get the gaggle going.
Curious where we are currently.
Yeah, how far we are.
Where in proximity is the hospice, and where in proximity is the Tower of Inspired Hands?
So I was about to get to that.
Other side of the city, you have to cross the entire city, spreading the contagion the entire way in order to get to the hospital.
Oh my lord.
And then loop around the tower to get to the other side.
But first...
I am taking... Go ahead.
But first, so Boko has kind of dashed out of here, kind of moving as quickly as he can, tripping and stumbling over things, and just in reaction, Clyde, Jasira, and Roland raced out after him, leaving Renny, Rea, Bungo, Theschault, all just kind of gaping afterwards, trying to see what exactly is going on, what's happening. Renny, you sense that, you know, that fear, that worry of not only danger, but danger to people that he cares about. Something with that blade seemed to make Boko scared of being around all of the people in that room. And you kind of lean around from the back room and kind of see Roland coming back to grab Theschault as Boko has this makeshift mask over his face and is kind of heading out the door as quickly as he can, trying to avoid other people.
I'm going to turn to Theschault and say, Theschault, do you have anything in that steam pack that could, I don't know, sterilize the area? And us.
Steam bomb.
Prepare for a steam facial, Roland.
Oh, this paralytic aerosol.
Well, to be honest, I've never done something like that, but if we get people away from it, I can do my best. He's
Let's
trying.
get out of here. Seal the back room.
Are you trying to just sterilize the back room, or are you also trying to kind of clear people out of where Boko was in the main room?
Where Boko was in the main room is going to be an identical level of risk to anywhere else he was in the entire city. So as long as we can seal that room that we were in for a long time, we're good.
What? Okay. Do you guys let Clyde know that we need to get people out? Because there's a real easy way to get... Okay, because there's a real easy way to get people to leave a bar in a rougher side of town.
Yeah, no, they are in an identical amount of risk as anyone else Boko walks past. So there is no point in freaking them out.
Can we put Boko in the wagon?
Boko is calm.
Problem.
What was that?
I've seen this disease before a little bit. Is that what he thinks he's contracted?
Yeah, Clyde's trying to keep up with Boko. He's already gone.
All right, that it's a pretty nasty contagion. And how long ago do you think he was exposed?
I think you watched it.
Well, it's been dormant. I don't.
All right. At this point, we also are probably pretty exposed. Do any of you know medicine very well?
I am a cleric.
I'm okay.
And the thing that I know most about medicine is you need to get to a better cleric than me.
Okay. I know
I'm
there's
okay.
magic that will detect for diseases and examine those diseases.
I can do it in the morning. Let's get the room sealed. Everyone over to the hospital.
I think that would be wise, that until we know if we're infected, I don't think we ought to run out too. But how can I be of assistance to you?
We need to get to the hospice.
Alright.
That is where Boko is going. That is where we need to meet him. That is where people are who are studying this thing.
And he doesn't scare easily, so I'd say it's urgent.
Yeah, that's the thing that's got Clyde so worried. He saw Boko do some crazy shit. Multiple times almost die, be unfazed.
I'm going to guess it isn't contagious in the first 10 minutes.
So, as we get to this portion of the travel, I'm going to bring you back to the map of this city. So, you all had been down within the south ward of the city at Casual Joe's.
Balls.
The hospice is slightly past the City of the Dead in the North Ward, at the southern tip of the North Ward, but a good ways across the city. And the quarantine zone
to the City of the Dead
is even farther to the north. Boko, as you come out of Casual Joe's, you are in kind of a side alley, but it is right off the edge of the high road, which is the most traveled road within the city, kind of cutting straight through the middle. That's your fastest path, but also opens you up to the most interaction with others.
So Boko's plan is he's trying to hold his breath, first of all, so sprinting, lungs absolutely screaming for air. He is...
Breathe out into your bag of holding.
Oh, there you go.
Slicing open the chimera, growing an extra limb, and going for the rooftops. As soon as he comes out, just whips around 180 degrees up on top of the bar and going from roof to roof.
Clyde is here like...
Not again.
Clyde is just going to take the streets straight there. He knows he wants to go to the hospice. There's no way Clyde's gonna follow him on the roof.
And just to make 100% sure,
Clyde will use his giddy up horse.
this is gonna last an hour. Boko is going to reach and sort of anchor himself spiritually to his physical form, and he's going to try to enhance his constitution.
Ooh.
Okay. And Renny, you said you wanted to do one last thing?
I did. Again, you see me start to mutter and make gestures and go into a prayer of my own, actually. That not anything to a specific god so much as kind of an old, like, grandma style blessing of making sure somebody's gonna be okay, and also shoot you with an enhance ability that I didn't know I would be able to cast. So I was going to pray for your vitality as well, as you made it through.
Okay.
Renny and Boko, if I could get both of you to roll me a dexterity check here. And this is mostly just for the speed that things are happening, so you can think of it more as an initiative. Boko is trying to get out of here as fast as possible, and so this is if Renny can kind of think of this and act quickly enough to get a hand on Boko.
The one time my dexterity comes through.
And unfortunately, in this moment, he is just too far ahead, too fast, and he's out the door before you whisper the words and the blessing kind of goes off, but you're not sure if it actually landed. As usually you try to kind of say your prayer over someone directly, but you at least managed to get the thought out.
Yeah, I wouldn't know I had to touch you. I don't even know I'm magic.
Boko, you begin to clamber up onto the roofs, and again, these buildings are tall and tightly packed, and it is very easy to, with your climbing speed, move between place to place to place. Go ahead and give me one more. This will be an acrobatics check, just as you're moving through this space. And you did tell everyone where they're going, so everyone does have the general direction.
Would my climb speed allow me to make this an advantage?
Sure.
And he gets a +4 to it if it's his check.
24.
Wow.
So yeah, like an urban King Kong, just swinging across the buildings, jumping, Spider-Maning between these spaces. It really is like skyscrapers crammed together, and you are maneuvering around and up and over all of them, trying to do your best to avoid major areas where there is a large populace. And it takes some time, and you're taking a little bit of extra care to do the best you can to minimize your breathing, maintain a good pace, and keep that cloth over your mouth, which slows you down a bit, but you're able to make a fair pace over to the hospice. Clyde, Roland, you two had made mention that you're kind of following after. Are you just kind of gathering everyone up and heading to the hospice directly?
Yep. Getting everyone out of the room, out of the inn. I'll go back. I'll let Slim know. Don't let anyone in there just yet. And I'm going to do my best to, like, kind of tack down a curtain across it to limit airflow.
Okay.
And then...
Clyde had already left.
Yeah, Clyde had... Yeah.
Yeah, and he's on his giddy-up horsehead staff, flying through the streets trying to get to the hospice, to try and clear the way that Boko definitely did not mean to do this. This definitely was mostly an accident.
This was just spicy science. And
the location was just poorly made.
Unfortunately... Yeah. Boko is also under the impression that he now has an expiration date. So he's heading past the hospice.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's going to meet them there, but that's not his first stop.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Where are you headed?
I am headed to the House of Inspired Hands because I believe that is ground zero. And I don't think anybody that's investigated this disease knows that that's ground zero. So Boko has a little bit more insight than they would in searching for information.
All right. As you kind of pass the hospice and head towards the North Ward, you notice that some people have caught glimpses of you, and reports are starting to go around, and you're quick and agile, but you can see that some of the Griffin Riders are starting to give an overhead, just kind of starting to do flybys, looking for whatever might have been reported. By the time you make it over to the quarantine zone, you see once again that all of the major streets have these tall magical barriers and have those heavy armored guards from the hospice itself standing kind of towards the front.
We have to give it our best shot. Like, we have to.
These barriers only go up a certain height. And the buildings themselves do go higher. While it may not be, you'll be putting yourself potentially out for people to see, you could try and kind of use the buildings to Spider-Man up and over the barrier. Or if you have another idea on how to try and utilize some stealth or make it through these difficult kind of alleys that they found that are the only access points really into this space.
I think we're going to try to go over first. And if we have to try to talk our way out of it, we'll try to talk our way out of it. But we've got to go for it. Yeah, we're gonna try to find the highest building we can and use it to try to launch over the barrier.
All right. Then I would like you to go ahead and roll me a stealth check here.
Okay. Ooh, I think we should probably use our inspiration on that. That's a little bit better. And just to make 100% sure, I would like to use the bardic inspiration that Clyde gave me a couple sessions ago that I've been storing in my ring of inspiration.
Okay, and that's a D8?
Yes.
Is that a D8? Oh, even?
That's a lot of ones on that board there.
Yep.
Luckily, the Griffin Riders also rolled a natural one. Unluckily,
That's a lot of ones.
the guards on the bottom did not. So what happens is, for Boko, in this moment, the urgency is more important than the care and then the stealth. And you kind of take the first moment that you can and race up the nearest building and over the barrier. And while these Griffin Riders doing kind of laps over the entire North Ward don't catch sight of this, the guards at the front who are kind of just casually looking around do see this spider-like creature climb up and over the barrier. And you can already hear them conversing back and forth and beginning to sound alarms as you just dash into this zone. And make me a perception check, Boko.
Okay.
You see real good.
There is a flash of memory. There is this moment where everything goes dark for you and you're somewhere else. This small wooden ramshackle building, bowls of crimson stained water and fresh white sheets. This pain racked through your various limbs. You can feel it inside your arm, and as you look across the various beds, you see different individuals suffering with this same affliction. The external signs are minimal, and that's part of why it makes it so dangerous. This clean rot, it's clean because it's not apparent on the surface, but the rot takes hold in the center of bones and muscle and rots from the inside out. You remember the images of those who had had it the longest, of when it finally started to break the surface, and that putrid smell that signaled the end. This only happened a few times because of how immediately contagious it became at that point. Most often the bodies were burned, and that smell of burning flesh is what triggered this vision in your mind. As you are brought back to these streets around you, you see piles of bodies. They're not large piles, but they are piles of corpses that are burnt, charred husks. Ash, where these bodies had been piled and burned, small charred pieces and remnants of clothing. You continue deeper into this ward, and the deeper you go, the more you start to see bodies that have that rot that has made it all the way through. And it's strange to see bodies that haven't fully rotted from normal causes. And even the flies and insects stay away, which is extending, preserving their state, where there are just gaping holes that the body itself has exploded from the inside out, has burned, has rotted away these massive gaping wounds that led to the deaths of these individuals. And if not ever before, in this moment, you are viscerally aware that you know without a shadow of a doubt in your mind what this is. And as you continue towards the House of Inspired Hands, we return back to Clyde and Roland, the others kind of racing away. Theschault was able to mix a few pieces of his technology and magic together and kind of intersperse a aerosol sterilization piece that he feels pretty confident in. And it does immediately begin to cleanse and clean old, even dust and grime build up within the room. You take your belongings and head out after Clyde, who had been long since down the road. Clyde, you are the first one to get to the hospice. And you see there the tall guards, their heavy masks, their thick metal armor, their large weapons. Do you acknowledge them at all, or are you just trying to head straight in?
Did a three-armed man come through here?
At first, the individuals don't seem to respond to you at all, and it's a moment of kind of working through the recognition of seeing you come through before, or at least stories of you coming through before, that one eventually leans over and kind of begins to speak.
There's nothing like that we've seen.
What are you looking for?
My buddy did something, and he was worried about it. He said he was going to come here. That's how worried about it he was.
No one outside the clergy has been here today.
Shit.
Please, why don't you come inside and tell us exactly what happened?
Well, I gotta go find him. I don't know what's gonna happen if I don't go find him.
If it's urgent, perhaps he is still on his way here. Talk to us so that we can help, and then we will all set out to find your individual if it is serious.
All right. My friend should be a long way shortly. Can I send them off to look for him? I'll come in with you guys.
They give kind of a slight nod, and one of them kind of heads inside. The other stays out here with you. And it's maybe 5-10 minutes before Roland arrives with the rest of the group.
Okay. Why are we still standing outside? Is Boko in there?
Boko ain't showed up. He ain't here yet. I don't know what he's done.
Going.
He said he was coming here. He was definitely going to beat me. All right.
Okay, what?
I'm going to talk to these guys because what happened, we need someone to be aware if it's going to get real bad. But also, I think you guys need to go find Boko, and I only know one way of doing that. And Clyde's going to cast Sending, asking Boko, where the fuck did you go?
Clyde,
And that's the words you get into your mind, Boko.
We'll get to
would
that in a
you
moment.
rather me explain it to them and you go and search for your friend?
I would. I think they're expecting me, but I don't think they'll look that closely.
All right, go ahead with your friend. I will explain what's going on. I think
Clyde's
I
going to put his hands on your shoulders, right? You're a true friend. Thank you. Hopefully, this doesn't go horribly.
And as your
Good luck.
sending goes out, we'll return briefly back to Boko. Boko, as you begin to head through these streets, I would like you to first make me a survival check. This is a city that you're not terribly familiar with on how quickly you can find the location that you're looking for.
It is survival check.
Gonna dive into the corpse pile.
It's absurd.
Jeez.
We are just vacillating wildly here.
You begin to get deeper and deeper into this word as you start to realize that you have no idea what you're looking for. And as you get deeper in, you see that this is a wealthy area of the city. That the buildings don't go as high here. And you remember that the House of Inspired Hands was a pretty tall building, and you look around and you don't see it sticking up over the other buildings. How could that even make sense? And then you start to see broken and busted pieces of building. It's been months since you last were here within this town when that tower was crumbled. And you start to see that many of these buildings are in the process of repair. That whatever happened struck as that repair and that support was going out. And you see individuals in the form of medics and builders and mages and many nobles strewn across the ground deep in this zone where no one could reach them. But you don't have sign of this building. And it's at that point where this message from Clyde reaches your mind, and you know that they're at the hospice, and it still would take you some time to get back there. What are you doing? And are you replying to Clyde?
You can tell he's irate.
Yeah, we're betting it all right now, aren't we? Boko's gonna respond to Clyde, and he's gonna say, "Find Master Clegane. Bring him to the quarantine zone. I will meet you there."
Clyde is so perturbed that this is not an answer as to where he is. Just stops in the road. Well, Roland, he's in the quarantine, so that's no good. But also, he wants us to get...
sacrificial piece of skitter idiot.
And he wants Master Clegane, so we gotta get him in there. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen to Boko, but it's not gonna be good. Good, Roland. We have to hit him. We have got to get him before we can beat him.
Yeah. But how do we get Master Clegane?
That's the best idea I've got, because this sort of crazy disease is way outside of my expertise.
Mine too. But you're the talker, so please get us through that front door.
All right.
Clyde just walks in.
And I'll, as I say that, I'll lay a hand on his shoulder and cast guidance.
Okay.
Controlled zone.
Just so you know, you have rolled the best tonight, Theschault.
Oh, really?
Yep, batting 100 right now.
That's terrifying.
There's a lot of red boxes in chat tonight.
A lot of ones.
Well, that's not good.
20's on their way.
From a very specific character. And not who you'd expect it from.
Oh no, it's exactly who I expected from.
Well, Ben's not here, so if it's not David, then...
All right. So, Clyde, as you head in, the guard kind of opening the door for you, you see the other speaking with the woman that you had spoke with the first time in the white robes. Her name was Sensu. And as you enter inside, she kind of comes and approaches you, her soft features and smaller frame, looking almost angelic. Mr. Clyde, I am told that your friend has gone missing?
Missing's a strong word, but yeah.
And you would like us to assist with it?
Yes, but right now, I'd really like his Master Clegane in right now. I think he'd be the one most able to help us.
He is not at the moment. He is out doing some work with our contact within the 12th.
Well, is there any way I can get a hold of him?
What is the situation? Can you explain it to me?
Well, alright, let's get somewhere where there's not too many over any other ears, because this might be pretty bad.
And within the hospice, there's not really anyone there outside of the occasional guards. Most of the patients are kept within the wings, and so the entryway here is fairly open.
Well, I guess I can... Clyde would kind of look at Roland and tell her what happened. We was doing a little inspecting outside of town on someone's property, and what we found was not fantastic. Probably won't hear about it, but it's not good. And my friend Boko took something from these monsters of men they sent after us. And when he tested it, touched it to his skin, cut himself, he freaked out like I've never seen him freak out. I've seen him bleed from every single orifice a person can bleed from, and then some.
fear from a weapon makes sense. Is there...
This wasn't a weapon. He put on a mask, and then he told me he was coming here. And then he didn't come here, and then I just sent a message, and he told me I needed to get Master Clegane, and he's in the quarantine zone. Now, I'm not great at math, but some parts of this is adding up to not be great.
All right. I will send a message to Alistair and see if he can come and assist, or if he has any additional knowledge. Is there anything else that you have to tell me about what this weapon is, or is there some sort of viral outbreak related to it?
I think it was all in him from what we can tell. And as soon as he even realized anything had happened, he ran here. Well, there.
You have a way of detecting this disease that you've been trying to...
That's actually really important.
We do. We are capable of using the magic provided to us from the broken god to detect where disease is present.
Can you hit me?
Since we were near him when he freaked out, could you check us very quickly?
Of course. And
if we're clean, that would suggest that at least everyone else that sees him probably would be as well. Since he's not where he said he would be.
Let me ask, did he come into direct contact with any of you?
He nearly touched my hand. Like, we were right close.
She kind of...
I think I got the closest to him when he was freaking out initially.
She kind of starts with Renny and with Clyde and kind of moves over each and every one of you, murmuring under her breath and waving her hands as the tips of her fingers start to glow with a white light. And as it passes over each and every one, it eventually stops over Jasira as the tips of her fingers start to go with a reddish color. And you can see her eyes start to widen, and then she kind of relaxes a bit. Have you been drinking this morning?
Maybe.
Okay. And she continues
Bad
looking over
dreams.
everyone else.
Okay, that was poison. That wasn't.
I was like, fuck Boko. What?
Oh shit, I'm sweating.
And after concluding the examination, she looks over you, and it appears that all of you, at least for now, are not showing any symptoms, either physically or magically. What we believe is that this disease is transferred via touch, so if you keep distance from him, in theory, you should be able to minimize the rate of transfer. If it is related to what is happening here in the city. Again, I will send a quick message to Master Alistair, and then we will see what we can do.
How quick of a message can you get to him?
And she kind of steps over for a moment, kind of whispers a few things as she moves her hand and kind of steps back. That quick, though he is concerned. Apparently, Alistair did indeed believe that Boko might have a connection with this disease, and did not mention it before out of some curiosity. It is best that we find your friend as soon as possible.
All right. Well, I think most of us here are willing to do that. Renny, I'm not going to ask you to go into this, but before we do you have, like, gear so that if he accidentally touches me, or Roland, or Jasira, or something?
She kind of gives the snaps of a few fingers, and a couple of the guards come up carrying this, like, thick leather aprons, as well as these long leather gloves that kind of reach up your arms. And there's some sized for halflings, there's some sized for humans, as each of you are handed out this gear. And also, and it's funny that Jasira should mention it, but
so we're all just a bunch of various sized plague doctors.
Everybody's now matching Jasira.
There is these thick leather
like
cowls and these long-nosed plague doctor masks that are handed out as well. And there is also, at this point, about a dozen of those heavily armored guards of the hospice have gathered, and Sun Tzu is kind of giving them directions, and they're starting to go out. And there's kind of some discussion happening, and she kind of looks back over at you all. Apparently there have been signs of him throughout the city, and one of the guards has reported to us seeing some sort of creature climb over the barrier to the quarantine zone.
That's our
Some
guy.
sort of creature. That sounds like Boko.
So we will head in that direction, but know that it is not safe for us to pass into the quarantine zone.
Of course, Clyde. Tugging on a boot.
And
Quick cue: is Jasira's plague doctor mask adequate, or would she
yes,
need to wear one of the boring ones?
Does she have
Just
to
wear
wear?
hers?
Does she have to wear a boring one and then hers over it for the style?
no, yours does seem to be adequate enough that they don't outquit you.
Nice.
And mostly it is just to provide some sort of barrier between contact.
Absolutely.
And so as
Just
long as
porcelain
sealed.
and she
Yeah.
gets style points.
Hers has beautiful like roses and butterflies. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, wear it, represent.
Yeah, you're the hot friend amongst everybody standing here right now.
The hot plague doctor, of course, obviously.
And Boko, had you responded back to Clyde's message?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
he told
him
me to
to
get Clegane and go to the contagion zone, and that somehow Boko would find us.
I do also have a potential strategy for trying to find the House of Inspired Hands.
Okay, hit me with
Yeah,
it.
here and there and over there.
Boko will get near some of the bodies and do a quick assessment, and heavily relying on these fleeting memories that are passing by, he's going to try to assess how far along the disease course they are, and see if as he travels they get either progressively more or less diseased, leading him hopefully
the old
toward
poke
the
him with a stick and see how far it goes in method.
I'm going to give you a medicine check with advantage here.
Let's see here. Just to make extra sure, we're going to burn a flash of genius and add 4.
Okay. As you try and focus on these memories, again, getting flashes of a small town, getting flashes of maids taking care of the individuals in beds, flashes of you in your own bed wrapped in white sheets, being tended to on your various wounds and spaces, and you can remember the looks, the concern, but you were there for a long time. This disease, it's not a matter of hours and often not even days, but usually weeks to months, sometimes even years for it to take hold. What's strange is that some of them had made it out, or at least gotten far enough to be burned. But some of them seem to have this amplified nature. The disease that happened here spread much quicker than what you were familiar with. You do the best that you can to kind of work the way back, and what you find is a mixture of results. You thought it would lead you to the House of Inspired Hands. What it does is begin to lead you to various buildings, kind of scattered across this area. And I'd like you to do one more survival check for me.
Can't be worse.
Whew.
Okay.
Each of these buildings that has the highest concentration, or that has kind of the aura of these bodies around it, is one that was being worked on. And eventually maneuvering through multiple of these, kind of tracking the space that craft had made as it went through the city, you find the spot of the House of Inspired Hands. Not in the center of the quarantine zone, but in the center of its own radius of infection. The building itself is halfway repaired, Most of the debris and rubble cleared out, but certainly not built to its former glory, still only standing about half of its original height.
We're going to do our very best to get in there safely. And at this point, Boko has no idea what he's looking for. He's going in there, and in the same way that he traditionally communicates with spirits, there's this like magnetism, this pull, this like push and pull. He's more navigating by that and seeing what resonates within him and allowing, sort of opening himself up to let this wash over him.
You begin to
Now
take...
that you're in the quarantine area, take a deep breath.
I mean, I can't get more infected, right? I can only get more cursed.
You get phase 1. What about phases 2 through 6?
Oh, that's going to greatest hits.
You begin to take a few steps forward, and you hear this cough and look over and see a brief bit of movement off to the side. You feel as you start to try and connect, but you know that to get a good sense, you probably should return to where you were when this all started. Inside the temple itself.
So I heard a cough.
Yeah, and you looked over and you saw some sort of movement, but it wasn't in the temple. It was kind of off in the street nearby.
Boko will call out to them. He'll say, "Show yourself. We are all sick here, and you have no reason to hide."
You see kind of peeking around a corner, a small young girl in kind of dirty clothes, but they look to be nice clothes.
Are you lost?
She kind of only has half her head peeking around the side, but kind of shakes her head.
Are there others here?
Boko, give me an insight check.
I hope this kid is not hard to read.
And no, she's not. There is a good bit of fear. It's mixed with a bit of curiosity, but you know from the form that you have, the confidence that you're moving, the spider-like movements across buildings, you're probably more than a bit of scare. Gets a bit scary to someone who's watched hundreds of people die in the past few months.
Mm-hmm. And Boko is not moving. He's sort of letting his voice do the work here. And he is going to say, "If there are others that you know of, please let them know. We are working to get them out of here. To get this sickness taken care of."
She kind of just sits there watching you, trying to determine if she can trust you or not, trying to understand what it is you're telling her.
Boko's going to move very slowly. He's going to move a little bit closer and reach into his bag very slowly, and he's going to reach into his alchemist supplies and he's going to pull out a bottle of pure water, and he's just going to set it on the street.
She watches the whole time.
"I imagine that clean water is very difficult to come by. This has been purified. It is safe to drink." He'll pull out an alembic and set it next to it. "This is a tool that you can use to purify water." And he will turn and he'll head towards the House of Inspired Hands.
And as you start to walk away, you hear the patter of feet behind you. By the time you make it to the temple and look back, The alembic and the water are gone. You kind of nod to yourself and step inside. And I'd like you to roll me a spell casting check here as you try to reach out and resonate and focus on that moment so many months ago.
When they took my gear from me, I would like to add a flash of genius to make that a dirty 20, please.
Okay. You remember walking in, discussing with the... Gosh, were they even priests? They had immediately taken you under some kind of advisement or control. You remember them taking the gear and putting it in some sort of box, and they were headed back down the stairs, and you kind of make your way around, and you see this heavy door that leads to some basement. But you know that they never got that far.
Is the door still standing to the basement?
Give me a perception check. The door is still standing, and at first you don't even notice anything wrong. But it's that lingering moment as you were trying to remember what had happened. You see small scratches, small incisions near the lock. You notice that the door is ever so slightly ajar.
When is a door not a door?
When it is a jar.
When it is a jar.
Sorry, I had to.
Boko's gonna do a quick once over of this floor. See if he can find anything, specifically his gear, or anything else, and then he's gonna go for the door.
You take a moment
Perfect timing
and
on that music.
most things in here have been cleared off. It looks like a lot of the things that are left are pieces that are in the process of being placed up, or parts of the walls that are being repaired, or tools that have been laid out. And even within this building, you don't notice really any bodies or any remnants of this destruction that had taken place. But you remember for a moment that whenever all this had happened, that person who was carrying that box, they had gotten crushed under the debris right on the inside of the door, the main door. And you kind of go over to that spot, and all that debris has been cleared away. Wherever that box is now, it's not where you last left it. You take a moment and decide to focus on the door, on the large door to the basement for now, and the hopes that might provide some additional information.
The door, does it lead to like a hallway going down underneath the tower?
So the large ornate door, as you kind of go to it, it's got heavy inscriptions, and it's of kind of a stone. It's not just a normal wooden door, but you kind of lean into it and it does open. It doesn't appear to, it appears to be open enough, and you're able to move it from a crack to fully open. And it looks like it is a staircase that kind of continues the same type of shape that the House of Inspired Hands has. It's very circular. It seems to be a circular staircase into what looks like just a straight basement below. As you step down the stairs, you notice rows and rows of storage, files, and whatever there would be flasks or boxes or crates, all empty, all gone.
Everything's been looted. Does it look like it's been looted, or does it look like it's been meticulously cleaned?
It looks... Go ahead and, for this one, I think go ahead and give me an investigation check.
I'm on to you. I am on to you.
as you begin to look over this, you see labeling for different kinds of infections and diseases categorized in arcane, bacterial, viral, abyssal. These different places with different levels of locks, and most of them have been opened or broken. It's not looted because there's not signs of things being done in haste. This was done with meticulous precision, and that's why it wasn't immediately obvious. Someone likely utilized the lack of security because of the quarantine to make off with a significant amount of highly volatile, infectious material.
Is there anything that seems to be left behind, dropped, slid under a bookshelf, or any signs left behind by the team or person, whoever had done this?
You notice immediately that there is that level of skill because of how little is left behind. Even the locks that had to be broken open were done so and kind of replaced in a way that, or placed in a way rather, that made it seem to be something with a lot less planning, but everything is just too perfect, too convenient, too much of a coincidence. And you do find things that are almost certainly planted. These bits and pieces of evidence, this small business card for a place in town, this piece of trash that has part of a name on it. Everything else is so clean that these pieces, you're almost certain were planted to be red herrings. They could still be of some relevance, so you kind of tuck them away, but you know that it might cost you more time than it's worth to try and follow up these pieces, because everything else might as well have been used magic on every inch of this. Like, it is amazing how thorough it was. Whoever did this knew what was in here, knew what they were doing, and was intelligent enough to plan this.
Yeah, this is probably a very well-trained team of at least intelligent people. I also did not have bioterrorism on the 12th bingo card, so
me neither.
Yeah, Boko is going to head out, and he's going to walk in the middle of the street back towards the edge of the quarantine zone. And he's just going to walk in the middle of the street, and if he gets any sense of anybody moving or watching or anything like that, he'll just call out to them and see if he can pass any messages from the quarantine zone to the outside.
You do get a few sights from inside buildings. You catch a few people kind of peeking and watching and curious, but everyone is very cautious, very afraid, and even at some measure of you trying to entice them, no one is really willing to interact with you. And eventually you make it back to the edge where these large magical borders are put up.
Oh my gosh, Noah.
I know. It took me for a loop too. I wasn't expecting it. Are you gonna climb and scale the building back over? And are you trying to do it? Yeah.
Boko would have also left in periodic intervals the remainder of his ration pack, just piece by piece, laying out rations.
Okay.
And he's heading straight for the essentially the opening where the guards are keeping people from entering.
Are you just walking up for them to see? These barriers are semi-opaque, but once you get close enough, like you can see through the other side.
Yeah.
And
Wait, are these city guards or are these guards that are with the hospice?
so normally these are city guards. As you approach, you see a city guard and one of the members of the hospice on the other side. And they are actually the guard is kind of the hospice guard is kind of looking on the inside, whereas the city guard is watching towards the outside. So city guard is keeping people from going in, which no one really is anymore. But the hospice guard is like scanning on the inside to see what they can see. And immediately as you get close enough for them to see, kind of points and calls out, "You there! Come closer."
I'm just going to say it right now before this goes any further. If the hospice are responsible for this, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so fucking upset. Yeah, Boko will approach the guards. Non-threateningly, just walking in the middle of the street.
Non-threatening with his third arm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your existence is a bit threatening already.
He's got all three of his arms crossed over his chest.
So a closed posture.
And as you get close, the hospice guard kind of calls out some commands to you to get close enough to the barrier, but to hold where you are, and kind of sends the city guard off to the next. And within a matter of minutes, there is a half dozen of these hospice guards that approach, carrying some sort of item between them. Shortly thereafter, Sun Tzu shows up, and you see many of your friends. And Sun Tzu kind of steps towards the barrier, and she actually opens up a portion of the barrier as the guards kind of step in and kind of circle you around. And they lay out this large, it looks like a leather stretcher, but it kind of opens up on the top and kind of motion for you to lay down inside.
Is this just a body bag?
It's kind of like a mobile body bag.
It's a stretcher that then folds over you.
A little macabre,
It's your own
but you
personal
know.
quarantine.
Boko won't get in yet. He wants to have a little conversation first. But he will hold his hands up, showing that he's not a threat, that he's not running or anything. He'll just say, "When we had first approached the hospice, you guys had neglected to do research on the individuals because of the risk of contamination.
Sir, that's
Now,
enough. You need to get inside. Any other conversations can be had once we're safely in the hospice. The longer that gate stays open, the more you put these citizens outside at danger. For their safety, we ask that you come with us immediately."
Boko is going to look at Clyde, and he's going to say, "Do not let me out of your sight." And Boko's going to climb into the bag.
And Boko, it is very dark as the top is folded over. And you actually hear them starting to strap it down as they pick you up and begin to siphon to carry you out. And the rest of you watch as Sun Tzu drops back down the barrier once they're all out. And immediately they are kind of doused with water, and begins to Sun Tzu kind of does those that magical fingertips across each and every one of them before giving them kind of a nod, and they begin to move out. Additional guards kind of coming from the side and making sure that they form a barrier as they begin to move through the streets. And she turns to all of you. What was he thinking? We will have to keep him under observation. You all are welcome to come and observe and even discuss, but you cannot go into the room with him.
Is there any way to communicate? Put him in one room with a airtight passageway to another that we can speak to him through.
Of course, we have a setup such as this at the hospice. Please.
I would like to know what he found in my old temple.
As would I. And she kind of motions and begins to follow the the group of guards. That there are eyes everywhere, and the streets just kind of part from anywhere that they pass as they begin to maneuver through the city, heading back towards the hospice. And before very long, you do eventually reach the hospice within the city, kind of passing inside to that dark, dim building. And following them, they head down one of the wings of this kind of tri-winged building. They head off to the eastern corridor, and Boko gets placed into one room. As they kind of open it up for him, Boko, you step out into what really feels like a cell. It's got these stone walls, a simple bed. It's got a chamber pot, but not much else. And it has no barred doors. It is heavy, thick stone. Places of it are kind of glass that has been kind of bolted with metal and sealed. And the door shuts with a heavy thud. And you look around and it seems fairly dim in here. You don't see much else. And then a few moments later, there's kind of a magical adjustment as one of the walls suddenly becomes semi-transparent. And you can see Sun Tzu on the other side in her white garb, a few of those hospice guards, and your friends gathered on the other side.
Where is Master Clegane?
He is on his way. It has only been...
He was at an important meeting with some group called the 12.
This is the individual that we told you about last we met. Master Greystorm. He has been helping us research and was frustrated about the progress. Alistair went to talk to him himself. I imagine both of them are likely on their way now. We contacted them about half an hour ago. They should be here shortly. But until then, it sounded like you had some things you wished to discuss, and I certainly have some questions for you.
Yes, the last time we had spoken, you had told us that you had foregone any sort of research to minimize any contact with the sick. You now have the opportunity. You have a sick scientist who is willing to do the work for you.
What work would you suggest?
We have to find out how this disease is killing people, where it came from, and why there are so many epicenters within the quarantine zone.
I believe
this is not a simple outbreak. This appears to be a coordinated attack against the city, and it will not be the last.
I believe when last we talked a few days ago, we encouraged you all to assist us with this very thing. But instead you have gone into the heart of the quarantine zone yourself. And likely, if you had not already contracted it, have certainly contracted it now.
This is the only reason that I had entered the quarantine zone. I am not a fool. I would not expose myself willingly. I was exposed beforehand by this.
And he will pull out the dagger.
Where did you get that?
Can I do some sort of like insight check for just a reaction to the dagger? Because I collected that for a reason, and like I've been checking every time I throw it on a table to see what people's reactions are.
Yeah.
Because that's
Oh, and I'm in a cell.
Can Jasira watch too? Because she cares for her voodoo buddy, you know.
Sure. I'll say that for this, Roland, you can...
Hell, it's a 2.
Well, Roland, you can roll it at advantage due to the assistance of Jasira and kind of Boko even helping in this situation.
Do better.
Come on, Roland, you got it.
Slightly better. 2 numbers that both border a 20 on the die. It's taunting me.
Sun Tzu is practiced in interacting with tense situations as a doctor that handles deadly diseases. You don't capture if she recognizes things, but there is certainly curiosity, not so much in her face, but in her response as she inquires about the dagger. Where did you get this?
Found this at a drugmonger's house.
That was the investigative work we was doing.
Are you
It
able?
was wielded.
What's up?
Are you able to be more specific?
Yes. There is an estate outside of town that deals in very shady business operations. Somehow they have created guards of some kind that are unable to be killed. These are the weapons they were armed with, and they are very reminiscent to something I am familiar with.
You are familiar with weapons like this?
Yes,
Where
in
have
a
you,
manner of speaking.
where have you seen them before?
I have created them.
Wrong answer.
But not these ones. Not these ones.
Oh,
Look,
boy.
you gotta be a little more specific. Not these ones.
And
Right?
And even on her relatively stable face, Roland, Jasira, you notice a bit of widening of eyes at this answer. And you yourselves are surprised.
This is like Oppenheimer in a country that doesn't know him being asked, why do you know this was a nuclear weapon?
Wow.
Because I made the first one.
Oh.
You understand that we are going to have to keep you here under observation to ensure that you do not spread this outbreak further.
Then you had better put me to work.
I will let Alistair decide what level of work you will assist with after the dangers you have put this city at today.
A question for you then. Are you familiar with what was kept beneath the House of Inspired Hands?
I am.
What do you know?
Roll me a persuasion check, Boko.
Hell yeah. Oh shit.
Hey.
She kind of squints her eyes at you and... I know that the House of Inspired Hands tries to keep things they believe dangerous in a safe space, if that is what you are referring to. I also know that this does include some of the diseases that the hospice has inoculated in the past and does not have the security to contain.
You are mistaken. You said that the House of Inspired Hands tries to keep them safe. I am afraid that is no longer true. Everything has been removed. Meticulously so, by some kind of professionals. These
I
are
have a-
weapons now.
I have a feeling that this cache in the basement of my tower would be something that was above my pay grade for my time there.
Oh yeah. You knew that the space was there, and there were plenty of theories from various people, but the specific details
There's a
and
door
access.
that
Yeah.
there's a door that very few people walk through, and everyone else wonders what's behind it.
Exactly.
Got it. I'm familiar.
And Roland, as you're watching her, she is trying desperately to maintain composure, but sweat is starting to form on her brow, and she is like taking a moment, and she kind of turns and dismisses herself and goes into the hall, leaving you all in this room with a couple of guards still and Boko on the other side.
Boko, you're the first one I've seen give an interrogator a panic attack, so congrats.
I am sorry that I left so quickly.
You should be. And next time I ask you a question, where are you at? You tell me where you're at.
I could not risk exposing you to this before I knew more about it.
Best be glad there's a glass pane between me and you.
Is Clyde the only one that hasn't hit Boko? Because I feel like that's going to change pretty soon.
Clyde hasn't hit anyone, and yes, you will be his first.
Jasira also hasn't hit anybody, but she doesn't plan to hit anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Boko will also say,
there are survivors within the quarantine zone. I imagine they do not have supplies to last them very much longer. If we don't want them all to die, we have to find some sort of way to help them.
Well, what sort of help you thinking?
Food and water. And finding out how to fix this.
and he gestures at the fucking cell he's in.
Well, one of those is way, harder than the rest of them.
There is something else. These weapons.
He holds up the dagger again.
They are what triggered the disease. It was within me before, but it was not awakened. It was being cut by this repeatedly that had awoken it. That could mean that this disease can lie dormant until awoken.
Okay, but
I don't like that.
Was it the dagger, or was there something different about the dagger that cut you the last time?
I think it was repeated exposure. And there is something else that I must tell you, but I do not know. I do not know if I believe it myself. In my interactions in the spirit world, I have seen many memories that are not mine. But today was the first time I saw something that may have been. I have seen this disease before. I don't know why or when. All I know is that it was once called the Clean Rot. If you can find any information in the annals or in the library.
I may be able to help with that. You see kind of standing in the doorway as Alistair Clegane kind of steps through, kind of sits down on a bench nearby, looking you all over, including Boko on the other side. He kind of gives a nod, and the two guards still in the room kind of leave and close the door behind them. Now, what I'm about to disclose to you is not public information. And by sharing it, I hope that you will understand that we are taking an immense step of faith. And I pray that you do not disclose this further. These are still theories and research. But you all are now invested. And so I owe you this much. You have likely already guessed that we are studying the disease here.
It was fairly obvious, yes.
What we have found is some of what Miss Sansu has told you and some of what I will tell you now. The rest has been relayed to us by research done by Echo Greystorm, a faculty of the Tower of the 12, who had some passing interest in virology in the past. This disease, as Mr. Boko has described, was known as the clean rot. It has been mentioned at times throughout history, usually in small locations, not widespread, and commonly it is ended by the burning of bodies that keeps the infection from spreading. This, along with our own investigation to those we have here, we are fairly certain that this disease only spreads by close contact. You kind of can't help but glance over at the wound still kind of healing over on Boko's arm. There are certain sites where this outbreak has happened in the past. Most of them were focused in the nation once known as Sire, now the Mournland. And the Sirens had done extensive research into this disease to try and ascertain its origins as well as how to cure and remove it forever. Unfortunately, most of that research is still within the Mournlands, which is why we were looking for people to assist us in recovering it. The bits that we have seem to indicate that this disease is not so much a typical disease at all, but rather a targeted weapon from creatures beyond our plane. The weapon that you have there, Mr. Boko, is something that we believe to be a Daelkyr artifact, which is why we are interested in its source, as well as if you claim to make them, you become under significant suspicion. And at some point I would like you to explain what you mean by this. The Daelkyr, if you are unfamiliar, are boogeymen. Myths, for most. Alien-like creatures that came here from another plane, that corrupt and destroy life on this plane. The most notable of these are the Illithid, a type of Daelkyr, and likely related to the outbreak in our city, when one of their flying craft, known as a nautiloid, crashed through and abducted many individuals, which, if your tale is to be true, included yourselves. Mr. Boko, I believe that you were here that day. Am I correct?
Boko nods.
And I imagine that you went to the House of Inspired Hands looking for something of yours. Is that correct?
Boko nods again.
Unfortunately, it is highly likely that whatever it was that you lost was the catalyst, and the nautiloid itself was the key, quickly spreading a very highly concentrated, infectious version of this disease that is somehow latent, or perhaps no longer so latent inside you. We have some theories on the length, the degree of exposure, and how to maintain some protections around this disease. But you must understand that any contact you make with someone else could be deadly. And even though you yourself have somehow avoided or minimized or prolonged the effects of this disease, whatever happened could change that. And we have no way of knowing how dangerous you are or how long you have left to live. And so I look to your companions to once again encourage you to take on this quest to retrieve the notes from the Mournland and save your friend.
You make a compelling argument. We'll have to think it over and factor in the fact that our friend is in there and that we were already going to do it before he went and did something so monumentally stupid I cannot believe it.
And I believe you. I had hoped that you would do this. And on that good faith.
Unfortunately, I had not anticipated our cooperation resulting from this particular circumstance. But I say again, you have found yourself in a unique situation where now you have someone who is disinhibited from approaching the targets of our research. Someone who has a very heavy stake in furthering what we know of this disease.
Mr. Boko, do not take this to be rude, but you underestimate the conviction of those at the hospice. We had 12 dozen of our scientists and priests volunteer to be subjected to the disease to study it firsthand. Of those, 2 are already dead. Another 4 are in critical and immobile condition. But the rest continue the work. What we have found, and what I tell you now in good faith, is a way to protect the outer barrier of the skin, minimize the contamination risk, though it does little for the rate of the disease inside oneself. If you agree to take up this quest immediately or after talking among yourselves, I will provide this to you, Boko, and it should allow you to safely make your way into the Mournland to complete the quest. But if you do not return here to allow us to synthesize the cure from the notes, you may still find yourself at the mercy of this disease.
Master Clyde, I do not think you fully interpreted what I had said. I am not just a mind that is interested in studying the disease. I am a victim of it, and perhaps unique in that way that it had remained so indolent in my course. As a show of faith, not only will I travel to the Mournlands to find this information, but I will leave with you a source of it. A source of what I can only believe to be a pure, unweaponized strain of it. Something perhaps easier to study.
And Boko will take his arm off.
Classic Boko.
That creeps me out every time he does it.
And this is the arm with the soul canister in it, correct?
It is.
Okay.
It has all of my mechanics in it, unfortunately.
You begin to remove this. And Alistair just kind of gives a nod. I will let you all speak in privacy. Master Greystorm has traveled here with me. and I am informed that you are in the company of one of his students. Perhaps this is some strange twist of fate, but I hope to hear the rest of you are in agreement. And he stands up and makes his way out of the door, closing it behind him and leaving you all there alone.
Before you go... Oh.
I just want to make sure, like, above the table, I told the other doctor about the threat of weapons and the lack of stuff within the House of Inspired Hands. I hope that information gets to him. If you
don't we all?
I also was fully intending to ask him a question and started it several times before other people talked.
If you wanted to catch him on the way out, you could.
Okay. I wanted to ask her about the catalyst. It's a factor of Discord instead of playing at a table.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Did
but basically, the catalyst that you mentioned, what forms could it take? Would it be the dagger, or would it be a fluid of some sort that would have to be injected?
I suppose it could be either. As long as it came from a Daelkyr source, it could activate whatever Boko is carrying.
Does Boko still have the vial of demon oil on him, or did he leave it on the table when he rushed out?
Oh, he definitely has that on him.
He had the presence of mind after dipping the dagger, and...
He didn't dip the dagger. He had put his finger in the oil.
Yes.
And then put the oil on the blade. And then after taking time to analyze what had happened, he cut himself with it.
Okay, so did you have the presence of mind to pick the vial back up?
You have to cork the vial and put it away, right? Vials. If I'm thinking like test tube vials. So cork it and put it back in the bag of holding.
We'll say that Boko has it on him still. I think it's fair.
Well, that means that Clegane ain't going to get it.
Until I come out of here. With my new cling wrap suit.
Is there any conversation that you all would like to have among yourselves?
No, we were already going to do it. I was being entirely sarcastic about that we'll have to talk about it.
Oh, I wasn't even necessarily meaning about that, but about anything that has happened or any of the interactions.
I did actually have a question, which I wanted to save for afterwards just because we were on a roll with dialogue. But you mentioned that the academy, like, you know, the higher ups, right? The people that I would have known had interest in this. I'm trying to remember. Was there somebody that was already kind of noted as an expert in the disease stuff, or would I have an idea of it from their research?
You know that the academy does keep various experts on hand, and there is usually some sort of expert in various types of disease. Usually it's not something like this. Usually it's more related to contagions of a different kind, like bacterial or viral type contagions. But you do know that there was, like I said last week, that there was a course that you had taken that had made mention of the Daelkyr, and there is a expert on campus about extraplanar entities.
Oh, so it would kind of be one and the same on that then. Okay.
No, those are two different people.
Oh, okay.
They're just two things that are related to this specific disease.
Okay, that makes sense.
They can read the illithid thing that I got in session 1.
Way back then.
Which I'm still trying to find a translator for.
It reads, attempting to read this will trigger the disease.
Oh, I hope not.
Boko just chuckles to himself. Too late, motherfucker.
And Jasira, I did see your note as well. You can roll me a history check at disadvantage if you would like, but it's unlikely that Jasira has heard much.
Just a curiosity. 14.
Yeah. Not a bad roll, but yeah, within my bar, the word Daelkyr you've never heard before. And really, even most of the people not from Mabar have never heard this term before.
Clyde
Cool.
knows what a fucking illithid is. Put a worm in his eye. He ain't like no illithids.
Fortunately, I think Jasira knows that one too, unfortunately. But, yeah. Ugh.
Damn.
Well,
Spicy.
Do you all have an answer for Alistair Clegane then?
Oh, we're going.
I think we're in accord. I think I was the outlier not wanting to go.
Ah, we gotta. I think we
What
gotta.
I'm saying
we gotta
happening
go.
there is we all die.
Unfortunately,
But it's for
I think I'm
Boko.
going to die regardless of if we go or not.
No. We're gonna fix you first. And then I'm gonna kill you.
And then we can revive him?
And then
Whenever
I'm going
Kate
to
gets
kill
back.
him.
It's gonna get very expensive.
Oh,
Eventually, as you
Roland.
Before Clegane comes back, I just have to tell Roland.
I do not know why, but I think this has something to do with the man I spoke of to you. The one who can breathe dragon's fire.
Of course, why would it not?
and as
Yeah.
Clegane kind of comes back in, this time with another individual wearing long, elegant robes, dark-skinned with kind of close-side shaves on his head and then these thick dreadlocks across the top of his head. You see this mage individual walk in beside him. And Alistair looks at you all. Are we in an accord then? Are you all ready
yes,
to
we're
depart?
going.
Or is there any...
We're going.
Good.
No, it just so happens we got full sets of camping gear last night.
Is there...
Preparation.
What sort of preparation and time do you need?
I would like a bigger cart.
yeah.
Because if we're supposed to be hauling things back, it's better than if it's not just all going into, well, a bag of holding can only hold so much. Ain't gonna fit so much in it.
We can give you a cart, but the cart, it will, the travel will only be to the eastern side of Loom Keep. From there, you'll be taking a barge or ship across the river.
Of course we are.
But we are welcome to provide you one upon your return, if that is part of the payment you require.
What is it you said, Clyde? Walking is for losers?
Walking is for losers. But I think sailing's for suckers.
I would like to take 2 pairs of the protective equipment that your clerics wear, please.
Yep. 2 sets of full body condoms.
Each.
Yeah, we need backups.
It will be... Do you mean the heavy protection equipment that many of our priests wear, or the lightweight protective garb that we wear inside here that Miss Sunsu and myself have on?
The kind that keep you from infecting other people.
Perhaps 1 of the light and 2 of the heavy if they are available.
Of course. What we have for Boko is something entirely different, but if you would like these, we can provide them as well.
And I only request we make 1 stop before we arrive at the Mournlands.
And where is that?
A village where I used to call home. Unfortunately, and perhaps fortunately, there are no live people that remain there. There is no risk for infection.
And how far away is this village?
It is on the way to the Mournlands.
All right.
And you also said that you had a question regarding the creation of these kinds of weapons.
I did. You had made mention to Miss Sunsu that you had experience creating these weapons.
Not these weapons per se exactly, but something akin to them. The limb that I did not offer is an example. A combination of organics and mechanics. Although I think these weapons are more of the former than the latter.
Indeed. Well, to all of you, this is Echo Greystorm, a professor at the Tower of the 12, and he kind of motions to the dark-skinned man. Hello. I will be your escort into the Mournlands. We make our way to the west. We will provide a cart for travel for you. I do not like to walk either. It is about a day and a half, 2 day by cart. In a couple hours, a salvage company will provide us access across the river. The most dangerous part comes in the mile after hitting the shore. The fog is thick, but we will have some protection. The Mournland is filled with plenty of danger after that, but that is where your skills come in, and mine. It will be a long journey to the Starmantle Citadel on the eastern side of Sire. That is where we believe the notes we are looking for reside. Do you believe that you all would be ready in the morning? It would give you a few hours tonight and a good night's sleep before we head out.
Yes. We'll gather our things.
Good.
They are goodbyes.
Then you can meet me at the north gate. Past the field ward on the outside. Just after sunrise tomorrow.
North gate at sunrise.
And he kind of nods and kind of guides Bungo, who had been kind of sticking to the back, wide-eyed, to come with him, and they both make their exit and head out of the hospice. And Alistair, standing there, looks over you all, kind of gives a nod to a couple of the guards, who kind of make their way around through some doors and open up. Boko, as they open up the doors, you see as Sunsu herself kind of walks in, begins to use arcane magic along with what seems to be these thin metallic sheets. And she kind of takes each one and kind of almost pulls it into this dust and sends it over you. And as it wraps and obscures your body for a moment before coming to rest, you run your fingers across the bits of skin that you do have, and there's almost like a texture that now remains. And after about 20 minutes of this, she kind of nods and makes her way out. And they bring in gear for you. And Boko, are you interested in wearing either the light or heavy protective garb?
Boko would like to. Are there any stat requirements for donning this gear?
They would be the same for the heavy. It's the same requirements as half plate, but there's no requirements for the light, which I think has some strength requirements, if I remember correctly.
Well, if there's strength requirements, I'm out.
Half plate.
Until you need to use them, of course.
I don't think I can wear anything like that either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we should have just asked for a set of light for everyone.
and you guys can do that.
Well,
No, I can wear half plate.
plate. I don't think it has a strength requirement.
It doesn't have a strength requirement. It's just considered medium armor.
Okay.
Oh, you
Oh.
can't. Yeah.
In that case, I can.
And Theschault, you
Level
can
of cleric does
you
wonders.
can turn any armor into your preferred armor if you want.
Oh, that's right.
And it's-
Oh,
Well,
I forgot. Wait, that'd be kind of cool. Hold on, I might have to look at this armor.
Here, I can throw a picture of it in chat here.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
This is what these guys have on. But yeah, as you guys get outfitted with whatever equipment that you need, Alistair kind of looks over. You said you were good on equipment for travel and for rations. Is there anything else that we can help you provide before you make this journey?
I actually need rations. I gave them all away when I was in the quarantine zone.
And you are easily set up with it. Given enough, you all, should you not have them, are given enough for 20 days, which should be more than enough for the journey, he hopes.
Damn. Clyde cannot wear the heavy version. He can only wear the light. Puts on all the heavy leather, and he's just.
I can't put my arms down.
And the light is almost like thin leathery spandex with like a waistcoat. Like it is very tight, but very water resistant. Doesn't provide a whole lot of protection, but can be worn with other armor on top of it.
So
have
it's a
faith in my
skin-tight
tooth.
leather suit. I nominate the monk.
Yeah.
No. This looks real good on Clyde.
I nominate the monk.
I'm sure we all look great, but yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure that'll work with my, whatever the heck. My mind just went blank. You know.
Unarmored.
Theschault, do you have
Unarmored
extra
movement.
Steam
There we go.
blasters can
Unarmored
staple
movement.
The Boko.
What's up?
Now, Mr. Boko, I hope you understand. As much as I believe in this technology, I would not like to take chances. And as such, I would request that you stay here overnight and that you allow us to escort you out in the morning, just to minimize exposure within our city.
Boko nods.
You all can come and retrieve him in the morning on your way to the North Gate.
I think I'll stay here if it's all right with you.
Of course, we do have some
Alright.
cots and some waiting areas, and I will be here all night should you need anything.
There will be plenty of time to rest on our journey tomorrow. Perhaps while I am here, you would allow me to assist some of your other scientists in their work. I imagine there is always use for extra hands within the hospice.
You are not wrong, and perhaps we can find some for you to do, but again, I would like to take any chances, and so I would like to keep you in this room for the night. But I will see if there is any work that we can bring to you.
Boko nods. If they don't bring him anything, he's just gonna set to work on trying to reverse engineer this strange organic Daelkyr dagger.
And do you have any tools specifically for medicinal work? Or is alchemy the closest?
I have my alchemist tools minus that one alembic that I left. Beyond that, I have smithing, leatherworking, tinkering, and thieves.
Okay, why don't you just roll the alchemist tools for this, as you kind of do what you can to assist, and then for the rest of the time begin to look and examine
Clyde's
these
going to
new...
spend this time. He's going to be using his bardic inspirations to help Boko as well. Just because I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to take my eyes off Boko. I'll help him, but he's also going to get the feeling in the back of his mind that as soon as he comes on the other side of this wall, he's going to get got.
I am storing, if I feel inspired at all by Clyde, I'm storing it in my ring so that it's not constantly looming over me.
For the rest of you, is there any other business you would like to take within the City of Splendors, the bright city lights, before making the travel to the darkness of the Mournland?
I should probably let Sweetie know where I'm going.
I also wanted to briefly confer with both Renny and Roland. We kind of came to help Roland overtake the estate, so now we can either continue to help Roland or we can keep an eye on the estate. Whatever
He's
we're
looking
supposed
for.
to do. Yeah. Or we can talk to Sweetie together.
I guess that's a PM call on guest versus long term. I'm like that's not an in-character call.
Can we keep them, please, please, please?
I mean, as I have no hard cutoffs, so we can be flexible. If you guys are enjoying these characters and would like to continue on with them, and Roland is open to that, then you guys are welcome to continue assisting.
Caution, infection probable.
On the other hand, if you are very attached to these characters, it might be a good time to exit for a little while and bring them back in later.
There's a fair point to that as well. You guys do know the Mournland. It's right across the river from you all. And there is plenty of danger and rumor of the horrors within.
But also unimaginable wealth and secrets beyond your wildest dreams. Also, a lot of death. A lot of your friends dying. That's what Clyde remembers.
Also true. Treasure and
From a
mysteries.
people perspective, Sammy and I would love to keep playing with you guys. To that end, I am happy to continue playing this character and love him, but I kind of made a little sillier of a character. If you want me to be serious instead, I'll say, hey, I'm not good at fighting, but, like, my friend is, and I'll pull up something that's actually useful.
I feel like he's great.
You guys are going somewhere scary.
Oh, no.
As long as you're
like
cool with
having-
me, I like him. I think he's fun.
See, I love our party of all supports.
Well, we all
It's up
have
to
our
you,
separate-
or you guys can decide later. Like, I would love to play as long as you guys
Decide
have
later
to.
when Remy becomes diseased beyond all belief.
We are all supports, but we have our specialties, so it works.
We
I
did have a
swear,
heavy hitter that we would all buff and watch him wail and crush things.
Yeah.
And now it's like that Spider-Man meme where we're all pointing at each other.
Whoa, hey, wait a second.
You get a buff, you get a buff, you get a buff.
I do things. Come on now.
I swear, if Roland gets sick and dies out in the Mournlands, you guys are gonna run across some just like grizzled old man who's just been living in the Mournlands his
Missing the
entire
other eye.
life. Yeah, missing the other eye. Just like, I was there for the fall of Sire.
Like, all right, there, sir.
Theschault doing stuff. Doing stuff to Jasira doesn't count.
Okay, whatever. The last time I try and save you, I guess.
No, we appreciate it. Just aim at the baddies.
Actually, no, aim at Jasira, then she's safe.
Remember, the steam cannons have a
There we go.
backblast.
Yeah. Okay,
There is a
I
pushback.
love
Oh,
Theschault's flavor.
sorry.
There's like this overwhelming craziness that's like sprinkled with ineptitude, but every once in a while there's this immense like natural 20 success that just shows off how awesome Steam is. We just gotta kind of get the bugs out, is what I'm getting here.
Which did happen.
Exactly.
You missed it, Theschault, but it did happen today.
Dang.
Yeah, like I said, you're
Team
batting
power.
100 for natural 20s.
He was able
That's
to develop like instantly a sanitization bomb that cleaned things out when Boko first got infected.
You steam cleaned a room in like 3
last
seconds.
session, the cart last
Well,
session, missing a bunch of shots and then blasting the other arm off of that thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm making things happen. It's
that
fine.
Was bad. That whole combat was bad.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
All right. But in this time, Rea, Renny, and Roland are able to. Wow, all the R's are Sweetie's associates apparently. They're all able to head back down to
So you gotta
Casual
run
Joe's.
with that now.
I know. And do make it
Renny,
in.
Roland, Robbie, and Rokatu.
After putting up with her secretary Grelk's typical BS, you're eventually able to see Sweetie in her back room up atop Casual Joe's. And she gives you the normal warm welcome, and upon inquiring about if she has any desire, she kind of leaves it up to you guys. Kind of, it almost seems at times that Sweetie is a bit aloof, but there's always that another level under it. At least you think there is. Like there's always that balance with Sweetie of, is she just absolutely crazy, or is she just the smartest person in the room? And at any time it can flip that switch. But as you kind of stand here with her, Roland, was there additional things that you wanted to talk or relay, or is it just kind of giving her an update on what happened?
Just a report on what happened and where we're going next.
Okay.
And a caution on letting people get too enthusiastic in the lab if she does make a move on it because of what happened to Boko.
Oh, don't worry, Sweetie. That place is locked up tight now. We can't even get in spies at the moment. But we'll do our best, you know? Maybe by the time you get back, we'll have some more info.
Hopefully. There's... I thought I was taking down a drug operation and setting some indentured servitude free. It was a lot more.
So it appears. Well, we'll see what we can do. You all just stay safe out there. Those shadows are spooky. Wouldn't want my favorite Rolly.
Well.
Wouldn't want my favorite Rolly to disappear.
But disappearing is what I'm best at.
Yeah. All right, get out of here.
He'll smile and stand up and walk towards the door, and then just kind of look over his shoulder and just say, "You know, if you manage to stop this Galreth person, I think you might end up being the hero of the city."
I'll take it under consideration. Rea, Renny,
And I'll step out.
watch each other's backs out there. You two have got some chops on you, I'll give you that. Sure you could teach him a thing or two.
Sounds good. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
And for
Teach
you,
who? Roland's already disappeared.
and just for a reminder, because I don't know if you two have actually had a moment with Sweetie, but she is just this small little goblinoid with these giant ears that poke out from just the curliest red hair that you can imagine, and just this thick top hat that sits upon her brow, and these thin kind of rectangular glasses, and again just these clever eyes that kind of see through you as she dismisses you both from the office. A little bit. You guys are kind of at this point by now. The Skinner, Saul Klein, has returned, as is most of your other party, and you guys are kind of given pats on the back for all the chaos you had caused at the estate, and for making it out alive. Lots of comments about how they could see the smoke for miles and things like that. Any other preparation that anyone wants to do within the city?
Don't you dare go shopping without me.
I'm gonna
Wow,
stop
now
by
that you
our
said it.
store and make sure everything's squared away there and the hired help is doing well, and then I'll also head back to the hospice.
Yeah, it seems to be in pretty good hands. And if you would like to, you can dump off all the extra adventuring gear.
Yeah, let's restock the shelves.
Yeah. But for now, it seems to be a small little goblin and then just the skinniest bugbear you have ever seen. Just looking like one of those monsters from Space Jam. Just like super skinny, super tall, weird proportions.
Super long arms.
Yeah. You don't even stay long enough to catch their names, just kind of dropping off the things and giving them a wave. But it seems that this shop is in all right order. And they're more upset about
having
having
long enough to catch their names. Code, I don't have names, don't ask me.
They all start with R.
Yeah, exactly. They're all gonna start with R now. So
the bugbear is Rokatu.
Rokatu and
Nicknamed
Ringo. Roki and Ringo.
There we go. Roki and Ringo. That's their name.
Oh gosh.
Oh, just take other names and just substitute an R for the first letter.
Yep.
This is Refany.
Refany?
Ramantha.
Ramantha.
This is Ravid. God.
That's so Ravid.
Rowie.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anything else y'all want to take care of within the city, or anything you want to stock up on?
Clyde's not leaving, but he would like someone to buy caltrops because we've been chased on a cart too many damn times where Clyde's been like, if I had caltrops, it would be so much easier.
Yeah. Somebody go over to the wholesale store, I don't know, Rostco, and buy a metric fuck ton of ball bearings and caltrops.
Roscoe is closed, but I can go over to Walmart.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, cringe.
I hate Walmart.
I know, the clientele there is so questionable. But if you need a place to buy caltrops in the middle of the night and have no one ask any questions, Walmart's the place to go.
Y'all are clearly forgetting about the Wilderness Supply Store, Kobold or Go Home. Open 24 hours. All your
We
adventuring
do like
needs.
them. They're good.
Alrighty.
No, but Clyde will buy, or send Theschault to buy, a certain amount of caltrops.
Yeah, you can just use the PHB prices for those. Where are we?
You mean we're not going to RP finding a shop that sells them at this hour and then negotiating with the shopkeeper and then...
I'm telling you, it's not hard.
Inevitably threatening the shopkeeper, having
and then
the
walking
shopkeeper
away
be
to
a
find
level
another
20
top
warrior, killing us, starting a new campaign.
I have never been a part of any of our shopping adventures because my fucking item list is so long. I haven't been able to unload anything. Since we left that fucking island, I still have the rod of Biesk and the silver ore.
Oh boy.
Oh man, that's funny.
Sounds like somebody's a hoarder. That's what that sounds like.
It's happening. It's happening. I'm gonna need another bag of holding here in a second.
Then, upon the morning of the next day, as you all get escorted to the gates, again to much attention from those people outside, your faces are starting to become known in the city, but maybe not for the best reasons. Boko is kind of put back into the body bag and carried through the streets by the guards, and you all are deposited at the north gate with a cart and with Master Greystorm or Echo Greystorm kind of driving the cart with Bungo.
How does the body bag get deposited?
With a thud.
No, it's not disrespectful by any means. They have the proper equipment that they kind of open it up, help him out and into the cart, but making sure that there is a wide berth that nobody gets close to touching him.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be sitting in the cart next to all of you for 2 days.
Oh no, you'll be walking.
No big deal.
And in theory,
if you're afraid or you're not going to keep up, we can put some rope around your hands.
No, we tie Boko to the roof.
We bought a wagon and a pony.
That poor pony.
No, I wouldn't subject a living creature to that. You can have the horse head stick.
I forgot about the horse head stick.
Yes. We do have a magical hobby horse, don't we?
Yeah.
There we go. That's Boko's ride.
An anthropomorphic spider just mounting up on a horse head little stick and riding off.
Oh,
Into
goodness.
the sunset.
Just 4 of the legs like in like that on the stick, the other 4 helping it along.
Question. Overnight, was I able to get any work done on that dagger?
On the dagger? What were you trying to do with the dagger?
Yes.
You mentioned some other stuff.
Oh, that was for helping. That was for helping them with the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you trying to do additional things on the dagger?
No. It was either. So if they didn't have work, it was going to be reverse engineering the dagger, but I can save that for next time.
Okay.
But if they brought me work last night, I would much rather earn rep with the hospice.
Yeah, they found you some things to work on. You gathered that it wasn't like the most cutting edge, but it was more than you expected. It seems that they're trying to earn rep with you as well because they feel certain ways about the situation too. But yeah, as you guys begin onto the journey, kind of in this cart, and everybody just unintentionally just kind of scoots away from Boko a little bit. But Echo Greystorm kind of looks back at you, Boko, just, where is this village that you would like to go?
I don't actually know. But it's on the way to Mournland.
Austin might not know, but
he says that. I don't remember.
Boko kind of gives the general direction, and you guys begin to make it head in that way. And it's maybe, Boko, you remember it being a couple days maybe, but by cart it's a little bit faster. And so you guys begin to rest through the evening, and early in the morning, Boko, you start to see signs of familiar places and begin to guide to where you believe this village to be. And you get closer and closer. And I would like you to go ahead and make me a survival check here.
Survival check. Ooh, I'm gonna flash a genius to make that a 15, please.
Okay. So, you do start to notice and recognize different places that are familiar. You remember, gosh, months ago now, as you had been wandering through this area trying to find some individuals, as the call to find something else had pushed you beyond what had become familiar. I'd like you in this moment to describe what Boko remembers of his first journey from the huts in the village to the walls of Carnath or Carlecton.
So the last time Boko was here, he traveled here in haste, followed only by one person and her child, actually. And when he arrived, there was a massive shadowy figure that was central to the village that was surrounded by dozens of desiccated husks of what once were the denizens of this village, the people that he served. And that was the last time he saw the medicine man. That was the last time he saw the only other prototype prosthetic that he had ever made.
Boko, as you begin to lead this cart to where you know this village to be, you don't see the peaks of the roofs. You certainly still don't hear anything of anyone having moved in. As you start to get closer You almost wonder if you're in the wrong spot. But you see the river there. You know how many times people had risked the mist to cross that river to come and see you. And you start to see remnants in the dust and sand here. Pieces of bricks poking up through the soil. Bits of broken house remaining. Grass overtaking what was once roads. This village has been reclaimed by time. There are few remnants of what remained.
Does it look like this has been accelerated at all?
Give me a perception and a nature check.
Oof.
You look around and don't see any signs of advancing. The grasses, the grounds, it seems to have naturally grown. It's just the moment kind of settles in with you. Even how long it's been, these few months, it seems this place, a few months more and it might be gone entirely. And everyone is kind of looking at Boko, kind of watching confused, as even Jasira expected like some sort of village, but there seems to be like these are ruins.
Boko will actually look to Jasira and he'll say,
Please, Jasira, come with me.
She comes.
and Boko's gonna walk to the center of the village.
Okay.
And I mean, he's just gonna say,
This village. It seems that very soon I am the only one that will be able to remember it. There will soon be nothing left.
I'm sorry, my dogs
Freya will
chose
remember it.
Frickin', they literally start playing right now, right next to me.
Every time.
We'll remember.
Yeah,
Boko,
Freya plus Knox, good times. Anyway,
Boko's gonna ask Jasira a favor. He's gonna say,
I would like you to do something for me, please.
what is it?
I need you to bury this in the earth, right here in the middle of the village.
and he's going to reach into the small satchel that has not left his bandolier, and he's going to pull out a small seed. He's going to hand it to Jasira.
Ooh.
I assume she's already in her light leather or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I imagine you all.
Is double sealed. Boko is double sealed as well.
Boko's double wrapped for freshness.
Yeah.
See, the problem is when you wear two, they actually create friction against each other, and it's more likely to break.
Yeah, that is what they say.
God damn it, Roland.
And what is this? This little seed?
Boko just nods. He's going to wait for Jasira to plant it.
So be careful of who you hand your seed to while you're wearing two.
Oh my. Don't worry, we were safe.
No. Roland is saying these jokes to Clyde while we're watching Jasira and Boko off
Oh,
in the
good.
distance.
All right, she'll kind of. I am a little suspiciously won't actually ask, and she'll just, yeah. I guess she'll kind of use her hands, kind of like make a little hole in the ground there and plant the seed and cover it back up, kind of gently patting the soil.
Jasira, as you kind of dig down into the dirt here, Your hand hits something underground.
Oh no.
Boko, is this supposed to happen? She'll just kind of like try to clear the dirt off of the solid object or whatever it might be.
You clear some of the dirt off and quickly discover it's a rib cage. Bleached bones covered up by the dirt.
Were we expecting company?
No, everyone that had lived here is long since dead.
These bones do look long since dead.
I was just like, she's not a forensic anthropologist. I don't know if she can tell you what the bones look like.
Quick, CPR.
Ooh, staying alive, staying alive. Ooh. Little dead.
I guess right now the better one is another one bites.
Staying dead. Oh, there you go.
Another one bites dust.
But yeah, there. As you go to bury this seed, you find that there is a body buried there or covered with the dust and sand.
We'll get back to that. So, do I need to put seed here, or can I do one of the surrounding areas?
As long as you place it within the earth, it is fine.
Okay.
What about within a rib cage?
That would be interesting.
Kinda.
This is how you get some crazy undead titans to appear.
That's why we're not gonna fuck with it. So yeah, she'll just kind of go 6 feet catty corner, hoping for the best and trying again.
Just the
same technique
and there's like
would be applied.
A little cage around the trunk that just goes up out of the ground.
Jasira, you dig a small hole and place this seed into it, and covering it over with dirt and earth. Boko, looking around this place, looking down at the rib cage, I'd like you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw. That's okay.
There's worse.
In this moment, the memory, it threatens to overtake you. The fear stretches up inside your throat and your mind starts to swim. But you're able, at least for now, to hold those shadows at bay.
I had told Roland many sessions ago that he needed to face his fear. And Boko is going to do exactly that, and he's going to sit down and start a ritual. Should take 5 to 10 minutes, but he's going to see what spirits are hanging out here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long this seed takes to grow, DM.
I believe it
I also don't know if
activates
it is...
on the effect. So it like lays dormant and then activates, if I'm remembering correctly, but I might have to look at the wording.
Oh, great! Just like the disease inside you. Great. Cool.
But
cool.
I didn't bury it.
Correct. Yeah.
Can you tell me the significance now?
Yes.
This
is the reward that Boko got for leaping off of the tower into the abyss. This is the seed from the Tree of Life. Yeah.
Okay.
You said all back then you were going to bring it to your village, a place for rebirth. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And
so we might have some undead living again. We'll see.
So we'll see how it goes.
Can't rot if you got no biological material left.
And if
spooky, scary skeletons.
If legends are to be believed, when Jasira dies, she will resurrect here in the village.
Dope.
At the foot of this tree that will bloom when she dies, I guess. So we'll see. In the meantime,
At least you'll know where I'll be.
When you die, a tree.
Yeah, when you die, this tree will.
that's Bree's information. Boko would not tell Jasira.
Are you bringing anyone into this with you, or are you just doing it on your own?
If Jasira would like to join, she's welcome to.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, danger.
And
she finds this so interesting. She's like, fuck yeah.
Are you going for a randomized effect here, or are you trying to target a particular one?
I actually don't even know if Boko is looking to reach out for anybody or any random effect. It's more of seeing if there's anybody nearby or if anybody approaches or is watching. So if a spirit should approach, Boko wouldn't say no, but Boko's not exactly calling. It's more of like a anchoring.
Okay. Then please describe this ritual that you enter with Jasira.
Boko is going to direct Jasira where to sit, and then as he does so, he's going to pull the knife out, stick the butt of it in the ground, and as he walks backwards, he draws a large circle and takes his place opposite her. Boko then will pull out his regalia, and as he removes his top layer plague doctor mask, he'll put on the skull. And he's also doing this with one hand, by the way, because he left his arm behind at the hospice. But he's not going to use any blood just because he doesn't want to break the barrier. Yeah. Instead, he's just going to...
That's protective suit. Oh.
Yeah. Instead of that, he's going to... again, he's been very lenient with the rules that were told to him when he first learned how to practice this art. So he's going to do what he's not supposed to do, and he's going to open himself up rather than call out. And see who peeks in.
Boko, I would like you to make an intelligence check.
That is not a saving throw, so I like the sound of that.
Ooh.
Boko, as you sit down and begin this ritual, to everyone else, you see him prepare, but you don't see what happens within the actual ritual as time for him and Jasira seems to continue on while it stopped elsewhere. But those shadows pool around, and this is normal for each time you've done this ritual. But the shadows pool around you in this moment, pulling both of you into darkness. And you see dozens of specters in a dark purplish red outline. These skeletal frames wander the darkness that surrounds you. Dozens of all shapes and sizes. And slowly, they turn to face you. Each one garnering its attention to the new individuals that have wandered into this realm. And they begin to step closer and closer. They begin to break into a run. They begin to sprint in your direction, swarming, closing in from all directions. And in this moment of panic, this moment of what have I released, Boko, you see this white hand reach down towards you. What are you doing?
Boko will just reach out and he'll take it.
As soon as you touch this hand, there is a surge of energy that pulses from you. The darkness suddenly gets shined in white, soft energy before it fades to a soft gray. The specters all dispersed and forgotten. You lie in a plane of meditation. You see a specter. You know without really seeing that it is an elderly man. One that you're familiar with. It seems to go by the name of Kogi the priest, who has brought you times of meditation and sanctification. The soft features of the face of this specter, as it hovers above you in this gray space, offers you some rest and compassion, awaiting a question and interaction silently. As Jasira, you watch all this, a bit of horror, your heart still racing. Boko, what are you doing?
Boko will stand up and look at the priest, and he will just ask a simple question. Say,
are they suffering?
Referring to the specters.
To suffer is to live. To die can bring peace or a new life.
Are they beyond help?
Neither of us believe that anyone is beyond help, my friend.
And do you know where he is? The one who has caused all of this?
The specter that haunts your dreams will reveal himself when it is time. But you must first be ready.
Boko nods.
Thank you for these moments of peace. I hope we meet again.
You have a kind face. But what you did was not the most intelligent decision.
Sorry.
You are lucky. The spirits are strong and dangerous. I see where your path leads. The land beyond the mist is rife with dangerous spirits. Use caution, my friend.
Just as you said, to die, one can find peace. Perhaps even be reborn into a form less broken than this one.
Is your form broken? Or has it just lacked maintenance?
Boko will ponder that for a moment as he walks over to the edge of the circle. He thinks to ask a question, but won't. And then he'll reach over and he'll break the circle.
Jasira, as you watch Boko making the way over to the circle, is there any interactions that you were trying to have with this strange, ethereal priest?
Ask him a question. Ask him for a favor or something.
I guess only one, with the assumption that maybe he can know if Tove is no longer here. So she'll kind of just... I'm not really sure what interactions, if any, besides the other ritual of Boko, her experience with spirits. But I kind of put that in the spooked category, so I'm sure she's fairly calm, composure. She's seen worse in her life. And she'll just kind of softly say to him, "May I ask one moment of your time?"
Of course, my child.
I have an acquaintance. She is also kind of an acquaintance of Boko as well. Tove. Claimed by our captor, and as she passed, do we need to keep looking, or is she gone?
Roll a persuasion check for me, Jasira.
Not her strong suit, but I was hoping I'd actually use this inspiration at some point, so we'll see.
Run it.
We need to try again. Yay!
Ooh. Can I add 4 to that?
You
Since I'm
can.
What's that? What's
Which
that?
makes
12?
a difference.
12. Good.
Jasira, you in this moment see a sense of recognition in this ethereal specter. And you see as he's about to not answer, seemingly reluctant to provide information. And then Boko kind of gives a glance from where he's about to step over the circle, and it's just enough to push the priest to say a few words. And he responds, "I can sense the trails of your companion. Her soul yet lives. To suffer is to live." And with those cryptic words, the specter kind of fades away. Boko steps out of the circle, bringing you all back to the small village, or what remains of it. As you all get back into the cart and begin to make your way the last couple miles to where there is a small port on the edge of the river, that large curtain of mist on the other side of the river looms the next step of this journey. And that's where we'll go ahead and end off the session tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Too soon.